Hey there everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about terrain for the game Infinity. Now, Corvus Belli, the makers of Infinity, they do have a terrain system that they offer. It's actually really affordable. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at the Darpan Xenostation Scenery Pack. And now you can buy that pack on its own. It's roughly, I want to say like 30 euros. You can find it in the US, readily available, usually from like $30 to $35 at your friendly local gaming stores or an online retailer. And then if you get their Operation 2-player starter sets, like Operation Black Wind, which is the current version, it'll come with the Darpan Scenery pack inside the box. So the addition of the scenery pack inside the 2-player starter set is another way that you can pick this up. Now, they do have other versions. Darpan is not the only version that's available. So there were previous sets that had different skins in the older Operation 2-player starter sets. And then for each version, you essentially have two different styles of packs. So the station packs, which is what I have an example of here today, you get the 4 buildings that are here on the slip cover. And then you get some little like hollow ads and stuff for some scatter terrain. But then they also have what they call expansion packs, which you get 4 buildings in those packs as well for the same price. But they're slightly different styles. So the smaller buildings that you see here, in the expansion packs, you get 2 of those, but they're slightly taller. You're also going to get an objective room, which is very important for a lot of the Infinity missions. And then you also get a really cool sniper tower. I'll throw a picture up on the screen so you guys can see what the Darpan expansion pack kind of looks like. But just know that that is an option that's available to you for a pretty reasonable price. Now, let's go down to the hobby desk, and I'll show you how to build one of these buildings. They can be a little bit tricky if you've never worked with them before, but I'll walk you through step by step so that you know what you're doing. All right, so before we get started working with the actual pieces, on the inside of the slipcover, they do have expanded instructions on how everything is supposed to slot together. The one downside to this, or the one criticism that I have, is that they don't tell you the order in which you should slot everything together, and that's what makes this a little bit difficult when you have to figure that out on your own. Now, this is my, oh god, fifth or sixth kit that I'm putting together, and I'm recording this video. So I figured out with some trial and error what was the best way to get everything together. So with that out of the way, now these are on pretty hefty 3mm cardboard sheets. They're pre-colored, which makes it awesome. You don't have to paint your terrain. Huge time savings there. And because of the thickness, it's pretty sturdy. You can put a decent amount of weight on the building once everything's all locked in together. And now this is already pre-punched, so we can just go ahead and pop these right out, just like so. And then the frames are also numbered and correspond to the instruction sheets. So let me go ahead and get this building completely popped out, and then we'll go ahead and start assembling it. All right, so here we are with everything punched out. And now with the this scenery pack in particular, the tiles rather are double-sided, but it's the same print on both sides. Now, in the previous packs that they released, it was actually different skins on each side, so you'd be able to buy that pack twice, and you could have 8 completely different buildings. With this pack in particular, because you get the same skin on both sides, the building will look the same, but the orientation of which side of the building has the stairs will be flipped. So you can still buy this pack twice and get 8 unique buildings, but each building will have a mirrored twin. But anyway, with that out of the way, let's go ahead and start building. So what I do to get these started, oh, and I missed a little tab here, is I will start with these longer wall sections first. And actually I missed more tabs. So these just slot together on these hooks, and with this being hard, you can apply a little bit of pressure, but you don't want to have to really force it. If you're getting resistance, that usually means that something is misaligned. If you apply too much pressure, you will break these, which are kind of integral to keeping everything held together. So don't try to force it. If you're getting resistance, just kind of take a look, make sure everything's lined up properly. So now next, I will go ahead and put in the floor. Now, with the floor section, you can see the wall kind of flexes a little bit. This almost acts like a hinge, and that's by design. It has to work that way for you to actually get through the assembly. And you just line up these little tabs into those slots and just push that in, and then push in the other side, just like that. Now, next, what I like to do is go ahead and do these two sides right here. The front of the building goes on the short side. The stairs are going to be over here. So anyway, when you go to add another wall section, you just undo that first hook, and that gives you enough space to align the anchor hooks, for lack of a better word. And again, you can flex that out if you need more room. And there we go, got that locked in. And then all you're going to do is just slide the floor hooks into their proper position. Just like that. And now the central wall is kind of sort of the first tricky part. So just like we did for all the other walls, you want to slide that out and line up our hooks. There we go. And now, in order to get this to snap into place, it'll feel like you're really forcing it. And you kind of have to, but it's okay here. So it has this little notch. You want to make sure that that slides in right there. And then you bend that as you push that wall together. And that will lock in. You can get that peg all the way through. And now here goes the fun bit. And by fun, I mean it's terrible. So we have to do the stairs and that final wall. So the stairs slot in nice and easy into this inner wall section, just like this. And here's the bit that tricks people up, which is how you get this in place. So just like we did for all the other wall sections, we went ahead and gave ourselves a little working room. And we want to slide those anchor hooks down. Oh, I forgot another. Just remember, don't force it. Just check your alignment, and there you go. Alright, so now you're going to push that back wall back into place. And then you want to align the steps to their sockets on the on that outer wall. And now here's the bit that sucks. So we need this hook on the other side of that one. And so what we're going to do is very carefully, very gently raise that up and bring it over. And then as we do that, I'm using my other fingers to push the steps up so that they're aligned with their holes. And then we bring the whole thing down. And as we do, we push the steps into the holes again. Make sure everything's lined up. We don't have any major resistance going on. Then you force that down. And then you can finish just kind of squeezing the stairs into place. Just like that. Now, once the whole building is built, I like to push down, make sure everything is seated properly, since we've been kind of fiddling and stretching and pulling and everything. And so now, to make sure that this never comes apart, the very first thing we're going to do is use a little bit of PVA and just glue down all of those joints. Now, I'm using this tacky glue pen. I highly recommend, if you can find one of these, like in a craft store or something, go ahead and pick one up. But bear in mind that they're refillable. You could take this cap off, fill it up with, you know, a gallon jug of PVA, save yourself some money. But the applicator pen is very handy to have for just this sort of thing. So what I like to do is start on the inside, and then along all of the joints, just go ahead and run some PVA into the joints. If you use a really good quality PVA, it will dry clear, so it won't ruin any of this beautiful artwork that we've got on here. But we'll just go ahead and run that into all of the joints like so. And then I also want to get glue into these locking tabs as well. I like to hit them from all sides, just like this. Alright, so once we've got our glue applied, we'll go ahead and work on getting a lot of that excess glue off. So you can just use a cotton swab and run it into the crease, and that'll force the glue down in between the tabs, but it gets the bulk of it off, so that you don't have like a messy glob of glue on your finished building. Once your building is all done, now we have to worry about, well, how do you protect it? So we have exposed cardboard all around the tabs and edges of the building. And so in order to prevent humidity or water from damaging the building and ruining the structure, as well as protecting this beautiful artwork, we're going to want to seal our terrain. Now, I've showed you guys in a previous video where I was working with MDF terrain, which I'll put that up in the card somewhere. I showed you guys how to seal MDF wood. That technique would work for these buildings as well. But there are some other products that you guys could use. So this here is Mod Podge Ultra. It's a decoupage. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation, but it's a decoupage medium that comes in a nice little spritzer bottle. So you can hold the building and give it a nice all-over spritz, and then set that aside, let that dry. They recommend 24 hours for it to cure. Kind of let that dry, and what'll happen is it'll soak into all of that exposed cardboard and then harden without deforming the structure of the building. Now, once that's dry, and I do mean fully cured, you don't want to do this next step while you have a water-based product still curing on the cardboard. I like to go over it with 2 coats, specifically 2 coats, of matte clear from Rust-Oleum. And now this is an enamel product, and because of just the properties of enamel paint, it's super, super tough. It will take, you know, the wear and tear of being jostled around when you're carrying your terrain from place to place and having models, you know, sitting on it and scraping it and potentially dropping it. So I do like to give it a couple coats of this, and whenever you spray this, make sure you do it outside. This stuff smells horrible. And also make sure that you read all the little instructions on, you know, temperature ranges, humidity allowances, and so forth, so that you don't get any frosting. And if you want to see a video where I demystify all of this fine print that's on this can and how to properly use varnishes, I will put that video up in the cards somewhere as well. I made that a while ago, and for whatever reason, that video hasn't done so great. Although it's a ton of really, really good information. So if it helps you out, please share it, you know, like it, subscribe, do all the things that help YouTubers become successful. But yeah, so that's all I've got for today. Hope this helps somebody who is looking to expand their sci-fi terrain. I will mention that even though this is made by Corvus Belli for Infinity, it works great for any sort of cyberpunk, you know, aesthetic game that you may have. Like, the smaller buildings stack into the bigger buildings, and, you know, you can go vertical with it. You get tons of it for really, really cheap. And then those holo ads that come in the pack on the frames, I'm actually working on something really, really cool. So I don't like the way that they just kind of have them standing like a triangle like that. So I'm actually working on some 3D printable, like, sort of signage holders that will attach to the buildings. And then you could just drop the holo ad in that, and it'll kind of look like a billboard. So whenever I release those, I'll do another video and announce all of that. But thank you so much for, you know, stopping by, listening to me rambling. If you like the video, make sure you like, subscribe. I do this all the time. So if you like this, you probably like the other stuff I've done. And I'll catch you in the next video.